warning before you listen. This epic is not for children, nor for the faint of heart. We retell the ancient Greek myths as they were born, unfiltered, unsoftened. Scenes of violence, curses, betrayals, and a hunger for power that shows no mercy. Given the many conflicting versions of the Titan War, the events have been rebuilt to complete the missing pieces. Here, we tell the myth as it was meant to be told. Sources and references are listed in the episode description. Chapter 86. Fire that walks. Hades reopens the gates of hell. When a god arrives and silences the enemy before they speak. The land had not healed from its first defeat. Ash still clung to its breath. And then it trembled again. Not from an earthquake, not from an assault, not from some new curse, but from a presence. Hades had arrived. The sky turned black, though no clouds gathered. The air grew heavy, as if it were bearing the weight of a funeral not yet born. And then he appeared. Not riding a chariot, not leading an army, but walking, alone. Behind him, fire followed, not like a blaze, but like a being, with legs, with hunger. Its footsteps weren't heard, they were smelled. Hades stood at the edge of the battlefield. Before him, an entire army, 40,000 strong, sorcerers, warriors, children of deception and night. Coeus, Erebus, they were all there, and when they saw him, they fell silent. For the first time in centuries, Titans could not speak. From his body, a halo of darkness laced with fire spilled outward, not mere shadows, something else, as if the underworld itself had borrowed a god's shape.
A soldier caught sight of Hades' eyes and shuddered. Are those embers? No, another whispered. They're not eyes, they're gates. Hades took one step forward. The ground cracked beneath him, stone bent without command. Coeus spat into the dirt, tried to shout, but silence swallowed his voice. His mouth forgot how to blaspheme. Erebus clenched his fist, but his shadow hesitated as if unwilling to follow. Hades did not speak. Instead, he donned his helmet, the helm of Hades, hell with a living pulse. The moment it touched his head, the land convulsed. Grass ignited, trees bent as if to bid him farewell, and the sky did not weep, it gasped. Behind him, they emerged, the Fireborn. No faces, no names, each one forged from an unforgiven curse. Their bodies were flame, their voices like rituals torn from books never meant to be read. The front lines stepped back. One of the shadow warriors muttered, "Where can we run?" Only then, after terror hushed itself, did Coeus finally speak. "The dog has returned." Erebus smiled, as if sipping poison slowly. "He has, but this time we won't run." Hades laughed, a short laugh, but behind it were 1,000 graves. "You ran," he said, "when I was alone. What will you do now when hell walks behind me?" A soldier rushed forward. Madness had kissed his mind. He lunged, but before he could reach Hades, he vanished. Not burned, evaporated. Then another. A third. 10 at once, charging, screaming. But their cries never reached the air. They disappeared, as if Hades had pulled them into a private retribution never to be seen. Silence returned. Hades looked at Coeus, then Erebus. He lifted a single finger. "The rest," he said, "you'll have to beg for." Then he walked. A single step, and behind him his legions moved. The Fireborn, not hungry for food, but for burning. And thus, the land began to ignite itself, preparing for a massacre that would spare no one except those who knew how to hide beneath their own skin. This chapter of the epic has come to an end,
But remember, what you've just heard is not a record of facts, but the echo of a myth, a story born from the imagination of the ancients, etched into the long memory of humankind. If this tale stirred something in you, if it opened a door to reflection or wonder, don't forget to support the channel and share the journey with those you love. And in the comments, tell us, which moment in this chapter struck you the most and why? We'll meet again in the next chapter of this audio odyssey through time. Until then, farewell.